Empathy can be a catalyst for violence. And this was again pointed out by Adam Smith, who notes that when you think about atrocities, we often think in terms of hatred and dehumanization. It's all true. But one engine for atrocity is the empathy we feel for victims. And this is true all through, this is not ancient history, through the invasions of Iraq, the more recent bombing of Syria. Whenever politicians in a democratic society want to incite anger and hatred against a group and want to motivate a group to war, they tell stories about victims. Sometimes true, sometimes not true. And our feelings for the victims, and I remember, for instance, the horrific stories of Saddam Hussein's monster sons and the atrocities they committed, energize us. And our empathy for him energizes us to want to strike out. And we see this in the very current political climate, which is a lot of anti-immigrant rhetoric isn't just sort of broad statistical claims. It's not hatred per se directed against immigrants. Rather, and you see this, for instance, in the work of Ann Coulter, whose book Adios America was the motivation for Donald Trump's policies, they tell stories about the suffering of people. Her book is all about rape. It's about rape and child rape. And it makes you feel tremendously bad for the victims and then tremendously angry towards the people who caused their suffering, in her view, Mexicans and Muslims and other immigrants. So empathy could be weaponized, and it often is. We study this in the lab. So we did an experiment where we told people about an imaginary atrocity in either Egypt or Kenya, where journalists are kidnapped or tortured and they're killed. And then we asked people, what should the American government do about that? And they're told, you do nothing, you could do negotiate, you could do airstrikes, ground invasion. And then we measured people's empathy. And as we predicted, and this has been found in other labs as well, the higher empathy you are, the more aggressive you get, the more willing you are to strike back at the suffering of victims, because the pain of the victims, you feel it so much more intensely.